Hello, and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Emmanuel Kadosh here with ILTV's Morning Briefing.
A fire broke out yesterday in the northern Israeli city of Tzfat, requiring the evacuation of dozens of residents of the city. The brush fire spread to the point where it destroyed at least 15 houses, as well as several cars, and Magen David Adom paramedics evacuated up to 7 people who inhaled smoke from the fire for medical treatment. That wasn't the only fire yesterday, though. A large brush fire in the Golan Heights led to the evacuation of both IDF troops and the UN peacekeeping forces from the area near Kibbutz Mitzal. And in the West Bank, a fire broke out near the settlement of Beit El. The residents of 15 homes had to temporarily leave their houses, but returned once the flames were under control. Emergency services are reportedly still investigating the cause of the blaze. Following Friday's shooting terror attack on the Temple Mount, Israel has implemented a series of new security measures, and the Islamic WAQF is officially livid. The WAQF is claiming that this is an attempt by Israel to change the status quo, and many of its officials are calling for Muslim worshippers to boycott the Mount until the security measures are removed. Along with that, the leader of southern branch of the Islamic movement is saying that Jews should not be allowed up to the Temple Mount in the same numbers as previously. On Friday, 3 Israeli Arabs from al-Fa'am in northern Israel opened fire on police on the Temple Mount, killing 2. Reportedly, at least 1 member of the Jerusalem Islamic WAQF, the organization that organizes the Temple Mount, assisted the perpetrators of the attack. Now, Israel has placed metal detectors around the area and set up security cameras to monitor the holy site. Security forces sweeping the Temple Mount have found numerous weapons stored around the mosques. The Israeli government has just announced that there are no official plans to change the law on allowing gay couples to adopt a child in Israel. In response to a high court petition asking to allow common law couples and same-sex couples to adopt, the government said that allowing same-sex couples to adopt would place an, quote, additional burden on the child. Therefore, they are opposing to change the law. The government wrote to the court that, quote, the professional opinion of the Child Welfare Service supports preserving the existing situation, which only allows a man and a woman to adopt a child. The government says that, quote, it takes into account the reality of Israeli society, i.e. the huge LGBT community in Israel, and yet they still choose to leave the law as is. Many lawmakers, such as Meretz's Michal Rozin, who heads the Knesset's LGBT lobby, as well as Yael German of Yesh Atid, and many more, said in a statement that, quote, this is a foolish and discriminatory decision that is accompanied by the unprecedented homophobia. They continued on to say the Israeli government is again abandoning the gay community, and this highlights government's cynical use of the community. In English, they boast about being a gay-friendly country, but in Hebrew, they deny basic rights. New reports are now coming out that at least 12 FOREX and binary option company heads and their employees are being investigated or have already been recommended for indictment. This is just ahead of a bill that is making its way through the Knesset, which would ban the industry from Israel outright. Among the 12 who are mentioned are the owners of U-Trade Premium Ltd, which targeted Israeli clients, the associates from itrade.co.il, which targets people worldwide, and the owners of websites Inside Options, Secured Options, and Option Chase, who were arrested in May. Charges across cases range from fraud, breach of trust, and money laundering to forgery, extortion, and even blackmail. If any of these people were successfully indicted, it would be the first instance in over a decade that a FOREX or binary firm in Israel would be taken to court for security fraud, as opposed to some lesser crime related to the company's activity. The binary options and FOREX industry ranks in estimated $5 to $10 billion annually, but it's now looking like the wave is finally starting to crash. Speaking at a press conference from the Élysée Palace in Paris, French President Emmanuel Macron stood side by side with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and called for a restart to Middle East peace talks. Following several meetings with Netanyahu, Macron said he's, quote, calling for the resumption of negotiations between the Israelis and the Palestinians within the framework of a two-state solution. Israel and Palestine living together side by side within secure and recognized borders with Jerusalem as its capital. Netanyahu responded in his statement saying he's, quote, made it clear that Israel's view is that the root of the conflict is the Palestinian refusal to accept a Jewish state in any boundaries, though he didn't reject the idea of peace talks outright. Macron's statements are very much in line with his predecessors in the French government. Where he stands apart is in his firm stance that anti-Zionism and anti-Israelism are one and the same as anti-Semitism, and that he will not tolerate it at all.
That's all for now. I'm Emmanuel Kadosh, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.